Delwissy, Fred Peter Paul. My father was Joe Peter Paul, and my mom was Margaret de Bilwa. Margaret Peter Paul, her name at that time. My mom told me the story before she passed. She said, Freddie, you was the smallest baby on the reserve that was born. Dad used to hold me in his felt hat to keep me warm over the wood stove. And they used to give me, to eat, they used to give me some cattle leaf oil. Yeah, in a spoon and a little bit of sugar on top of it, make it sweeter. And they would just spoon feed me with that till I got stronger, you know. When we were brought up there, we only had the one house, but it was gravel. The floor was gravel. We had no lumber to put the floor on. And we lived it was a poor place, cold in the wintertime. Wasn't very big. Wasn't very big. You just had the beds, you know, all lined up. I remember he had beds all lined up, and half of the beds wasn't very good. Some of us slept right on the gravel, but it was warm because you had a big stove there, wood stove going. Yeah, I grew up on the reserve in Big Cove, and it wasn't very many houses there at the time, just a few. And we had to work hard for a living, I'll tell you. Snowing and blowing and cold. You're right out in that all the time. Dad had a team of horses one time, 2 for a while, till he made a little money, and he got a couple of horses, and we hauled government wood to each person on the reserve. We used to work in the woods cutting firewood and delivering it to the houses, and we would cut the pulp to scale. Scaler would come around and paint every log, and you know what I'm saying, and piled. We used to lug it out on my shoulder to the road and pile it up 4 feet pulp, lots of it, like 10 or 15 cord we used to cut, and we used to lug that out on our shoulders, a lot of us. Even my mother even helped when she wasn't busy around the house, and she used to help us. They give you a food voucher to get so much wood, and we used to haul it over there with a team of horses. And I'm telling you, you can hear the woods cracking in the mornings when you get up early in the morning. We used to start at 6, and the woods, everything would be just cracking. You know, it's so cold, that Jack Frost, holy God, it used to be cold. And we done that for a living there for a couple of years, and it was no fun, I'll tell you. I was young, and I didn't want to do that kind of work because I knew I was going to get cold in the woods with my father. And he used to tell me, put your hands in the snowbank, keep your hands warm that way. Yeah. In the fall, when there was a harvest potatoes, we had the whole, Mom and Dad was to put us all out there, all of us, picking potatoes. My mom and everybody, to be able to make money, but I never seen any of it. I never seen no money at all. You know, growing up, Dad took it all, and he bought a little television. I remember that black and white one. First time he bought it, I remember he set it right up on a barrel, and we all sat around there and looked at television. Was amazed to be able to see something right, you know, on TV like that, because we never seen it before. You know, it was the first television we ever had. Yeah, it was just a small one, but we're surprised, you know, to see that come out like that, people right on there. No, Dad never gave us any money growing up, son. You can ask my boys. My boys can remember that a little bit. You work for nothing when you work for Dad. All day you work cutting pulp in the woods or fishing or anything like that. He never gave us any money. Dad was he was a drunken man, and all he worked for is something that he was going to get drunk the next day. You know, he was to drink a lot. Yeah, he never gave us any money when we worked. My first paycheck was working down here in Mars Hill for Hans White. I think what he was doing is drinking the sores away, what he lives like. He drinks, you know, and he would get beatings all the time when he'd come home drunk or something. Them nuns would give him a hard time. But he always come home drinking. And the nuns would tell him, someday you're not going to come home. You'll run into somebody that might kill you. You never know. You know, and he never used to listen to all. He would keep right on to drinking. Yeah, growing up it wasn't much fun. I didn't like it. Dad used to walk down to the school. It was quite a ways. An old school we had there. Looks like a building more like it. And Dad would walk down there and take me out of school to put me in working 5 or 6 times a week. He was taking me right out to school and putting me in the woods, cutting pulp and fishing and whatever he was doing. That's what he was, you know. And I knew at the time I was just catching on how to be able to read a little bit, you know, and understand what's going on in school. And he kept taking me out of school, and I never could learn anything. Couldn't learn anything at all. It just didn't register whatever the teacher was trying to teach me. I had a real hard time with that. He used to beat you if you was late coming in for school or just anything they could find. They would, you know, they had a ruler, it was a rod like a strap, and they was to hit you on your hands. Put your hand out like that, and if you didn't try it, they'll start hitting you on your legs on the side of you, you know, with that strap. They were cruel. And there was 9 of us in the whole family, all kids. And he said we had to keep the younger kids in the school there so they'll catch on, so they'll learn. But the older ones always had to go to work. I had a brother that was in Dalhousie, New Brunswick. And he was riding, he got in the morning, was just the snow was going off the ground, I'm telling you the truth. He got in a boat and I never seen him after. He fell out of the boat trying to reach his salmon net that was floating at the bottom, and he went right head first right in there with all gear on and everything. You know, and got drowned. His name was Basil Peter Paul. And that was hard on everybody. He was going in there to make a living for his family so they can eat, and that's what happened. He got drowned. When we got older, we figured, well, it's time for us to be able to do what we want to. You get that feeling when you're growing up. So we started going out, and I started sneaking around to drink that Canadian wine. And I'd shove it right in the snowbank. When I get off the car, I'll shove it in the snowbank and keep right on walking to the driveway. And at night time, around 9 o'clock, when I get ready to go walk around with the rest of the younger people, I'd take that bottle out of the snowbank and keep right on the road walking. It would be ice cold, I remember. I'd take a couple shots of that and that warmed me right up. Makes you willing to go, you know. Yeah, it was always like that. We always had something hidden somewhere. Yeah. And then when we grow it up, that's it. That stuff's going to grow on you. Yeah, that's not good for you at all, he said. He said, when you grow older, you'll find that out for yourself, because it's nothing but just trouble that, you know. Anywhere you go, it causes trouble to alcohol. And I had to find out the way it went. It was true. When I raised my kids and had a wife, we never could get along because I was drinking all the time. I was about 14 years old when my brother said we're gonna go to Maine. We're gonna go back to Maine and work over there. And I was surprised to earn my first American money. And I used to work a half a day, and the farmers around here didn't dare work me too much because I was underage. And They didn't feel like working me until after school, you know. And then we'd go in and work and load a trailer truck and work. All them little 10-pound bags like that, was a pile them right up in the trailer. They were little lighter to handle. First job I had was for a man by the name of Hans White. He died. He was elderly, and he was farming then in Mars Hill. And we used to go down in the cellar and shovel them potatoes and the flies, the fruit flies, out of them rotten potatoes, get in your ears. Oh, they were just black. They were so thick. Yeah, and it was like that, and we had to shovel them rotten potatoes out of the. They were standing right straight up, with the sprouts on them that long, all stuck together. You had a hard time to knock them down. Yeah, it was, I done a lot of that, shoveling potatoes in the springtime when the season is all done, And I used to shovel a lot of potatoes like that. There I lived in the potato houses. Yeah, and I lived in a potato house down there for Lester Hallett, his name. He said, to stay right in here, and you can keep the potatoes warm, keep the fire going in the potato house. So we did that. We keep the fire going in the potato house and stayed right there. I was always living in a lot of places. You know them little shacks that got built for pickers, potato pickers years ago. We used to live a lot of times in them when you could see right outside. You can even see the sun when it comes up in the morning. Yeah, it was cold. But we had on the stove, one of them tin stoves, which was filled right up with wood, and she would turn all red right around it. And it got warm in there, because I slept on the top bunk where the heat goes up. I remember, and then I get up in the morning, it's just about dark, and started walking down to go to work in the potato house for the farmers. We had to walk in the mornings early. We had to get up right in the morning when it's dark yet. We'd start walking down to go to work, down around Mars Hill and Bridgewater. I worked for the sergeants down there for a long time. Well, 14 years off and on, I worked for sergeants. We walked every bit of the way. It was about 3.5-hour ride from here. We walked every bit of most of the ways. We get a ride, it wouldn't be very far. We walked the whole length of that Salmon River. That was all wooded road, and springtime the road was mud and wasn't even passable. You didn't see many cars going through there at all. But we walked the whole length of that road. At nighttime we'd build a little fire in the woods until the game warden comes by or something, and they just said, you're gonna put the fire out, you can't have a fire in there. So he helped us put the fire out. Yeah. It wasn't no fun at all like that, living like that. Till we got a vehicle to get along, drive. My oldest brother, Norman, he used to be with us, and he had a driver's license, and he said, if you work hard enough, we can chip in and buy ourselves a car so we can go home on weekends. I said, yeah, we could. That's the way we should do it. And you could buy a car for $200 some days. I remember buying them from a fellow in Mars Hill. He was selling a whole bunch of cars, and you could pick one right out of the bunch, and they were all second-hand. I went home off and on, to visit my dad, my mom. We'd go over there on weekends, and then make sure we make it back for a Monday so we can work. I done all kinds of work. I moved over here in Maine. I done Christmas trees. I done a little bit of fishing down the coast, blueberrying, spreading hay over the blueberry field by hand. I never used to like that job because I piled all the hay right at the corner of their land, and the snakes in that. Hey, you know, they live in them snakes inside there. Honest to God, once in a while you take that bundle of hay, you know, and comes like peas like. You break that up, and big snake will start rolling. They get all over you, and I never liked that. I didn't stay there long. I'll tell you that. On account of the snakes, I told the boss. I said I don't like working like this. The blueberry, raking blueberries by hand, pays the more money. Used to pay good money down there raking blueberries. You used to work hard, and a lot of hours, but the money was good. Yeah, yeah. But the fishing wasn't too good because it was cold, and when you had to do that, holy God. We had a lot of seasons, you know, fishing. We used to fish bass, fish saltwater bass like that. We used to fish them, and the saltwater eels, all kinds of stuff. I started digging clams, and the clams down there were $25 for a pail. And I would dig them by hand with a shovel. And I used to get a couple of pails every day, and I used to sell them like that and make money. I made good money for digging clams. Clams was high. The price kept going up. So I had 5 kids growing up with one woman. I had 5 of my own kids. I had a hard time growing up. I always working in the potato house where you couldn't make enough to feed a family. Them olden days we was getting $1.50 an hour. And the olden days it was no good. That money never went anywhere. You know, you have a hard time to feed your family. Geez, the first thing you know that you got to work for it to make yourself better. And if you don't feel like working, well, you're always going to stay down. You know, you don't ever go up when you're down. It's hard to pick yourself back up. Sometimes you got to go through hell to be able to, you know, get any values tall and school. You need a lot of schooling too. Schooling helps you to grow up and be on your own, you know. But if you don't learn anything, like I did, you'd end up fishing and doing odd and end jobs, you know, all the time. And some days, them jobs like that never paid you much. It used to be cheap. Yeah, never used to pay much.
If you could do anything different, what would you have done different growing up?
Oh, God, I don't know. I'd go to school, I think. I'd go back to school and stay there. What I should have done growing up, when I think of it as too late, it's gone, is move out and go to school somewhere else. If I knew better when I was younger. But when you're young like that, you don't want to go nowhere. You seem stuck with the family, you know. But that's the best thing to do is when you parents is not going to teach you anything. I think man should just take right off and go to school somewhere else. You know, come over here and go to school. I would say up the most this ways. I'll see you again.